Really excited today. I've got my first guest, Savy Jane. She's a self-taught Seattle painter and muralist who focuses on paintings of musicians, especially Seattleites. And I've seen some of her work. It's absolutely incredible. I'm really excited to have her here today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, it's good to have you. What's the latest been with all the art?
Well, I'm just painting like crazy. I've been in my studio up in Seattle and trying to just paint as much as possible.
I love it. I love it. What kind of stuff are you working on right now?
Well, like you said, my art is primarily musician based, and everything comes from music and color. And so whatever music I'm listening to or concerts I go to or stuff like that is kind of how everything evolves. So right now I've got a pretty cool Jimi Hendrix in the works.
Nice.
And I've got an Alan Stone that's pretty amazing. And those are the big ones right now.
You know, from looking at your art versus other artists' work, I noticed it's kind of a different style. Can you kind of, hone us in on that?
Yeah, so I'm completely self-taught. So the truth is, technically, I'm probably a really bad artist, but I think that's what makes my art so different, is I really don't know what I'm doing. So it's been fun to go into it without overthinking anything. And I paint in acrylic paints, and the paint is heavily watered down, and so it's a very organic process, and I encourage the drips and the mistakes and kind of just let the paint flow and let it be what it wants to be. And you can see in my paintings it would be pretty impossible for me to recreate something exactly like it was, because it really is organic and just grows and evolves on its own.
I just love seeing everything that comes out. What's your big inspiration?
My big inspiration is color. Color is really an obsession. You'll see my paintings are rarely neutral type tones. They're really bright and vibrant. So I'll draw from sunsets I've seen or bright colors just in nature, and just kind of take those and think, if I'm painting a forest scene or something, how would I want to look out to the world and see it? Well, I'd want it to be as colorful and like in your face as possible. And so yeah, just color, day-to-day color in nature, and then just magnetize it.
I love it. I love it. So you've done some really cool projects. I was telling you earlier before we got on the air today that when I started doing the show, you were like the first person I think of because you're so community involved. So can you tell us about what you did for Tacoma?
Yeah, actually it was Fife.
Oh,
close,
sorry.
but that's okay. So, well, part of it, I guess I should say, in my art, I love painting huge paintings. And a lot of times clients don't have the room or the budget for something huge, so I get a little restricted, which is fine, and I work with it. But the city of Fife commissioned me to paint a mural that was 20 feet wide by 8 feet tall. So it was like my dream situation. I could get as big and messy and crazy as possible. So the mural is hanging, it's 5 different panels, 5 4x8 panels, and it's hanging on City Hall. And it's a scene, it's a contemporary scene, like a farm agriculture type scene with this huge tree and fruit, and just represents abundance and the agriculture of the city of Fife. And so I got to do that in the last, over the last 6 months or something. And so now I'm kind of obsessed with doing murals. So that's all I want to do.
How do you start with something of that big?
With that particular one, I did sketch it out, and then I did a rendering in Photoshop of what I wanted it to become. And they liked it and approved it. So I guess the sketching is just kind of my idea and the concept I want it to be, and then actually recreating it is just breaking it down, panel by panel.
Oh, it turned out amazing. Absolutely amazing. So do you have any projects like that coming up for other cities, or is that kind of the goal to do more of that?
It's definitely the goal. I've been applying for different murals, but like I said, that's all I want to do is murals. And the other thing I've got, I'm trying to focus on the corporate sector as well.
Okay.
And so I'm building a portfolio that would be more like published arts. So I've got the murals going, and then I'm sticking to the musicians, and then I'm also doing more abstract kind of corporate art to hopefully see where I can take that.
Can you tell us a little bit about the creative process?
Yes. My creative process, it all comes down to music. So I turn some good music on, I start with a blank canvas, and then I just start sketching with charcoal, and then I put the first coat of paint on. And the first coat of paint always drives the rest of the painting. And I can always tell by that first coat of paint whether it's going to be a good painting I'm going to be happy with, or I just quit right there. And it's really weird, but it's definitely, you go into this mode where it's not even me creating it, it's like something higher just comes through me and it evolves, and it's really cool. But I've a lot of it, you're so present, you're not even present. It's pretty cool.
So you mentioned that you love the colors part of it.
Yes.
What kind of colors are in right now, or that you're really liking to use?
Well, my trademark is red, bright, passionate red, and I think it's a little different than most artists because it's such a bold color that people are afraid to use it. But I actually use it dominantly, and because I use it so much, it isn't a dominant color in it. So it's kind of an interesting thing, but I'm definitely not afraid of it.
That's definitely interesting. Do you ever look at what the colors kind of evoke in people, and is red like power or hungry, or what is red?
It's a color of passion. It's hate, it's love, it's anger, it's everything. And I think that's what's so cool about it, is it makes you feel something. And yeah, and that's the goal of it for every artist. You want to feel, make the viewer feel something.
I love it. And then I saw you did one of Macklemore. That turned out pretty cool?
Yeah, that was one for fun. It's hanging in a record studio now, which is pretty fun. Yeah.
What other artists do you have coming up that it just follows what you're listening to, right?
Yeah. I just go with it, and then these things come to me. Really do.
So do people contact you and say, hey, I want a painting of this musician? And
yeah. I'm primarily commission based. So people see my work and they're like, oh, I would love to see, a Jeff McKagan painting or whatever musician. And I encourage them to give me the creative freedom, because the more creative freedom I have, the better the end result. So sometimes they'll get a little too specific and it's restricting. So I just say, trust me, and then it's a good product.
What's the best way for people to get a hold of you if they to view your art and to say put in a request for a particular piece?
Yeah, so Savy Jane Studios is my company, and SavyJaneStudios.com is my website, and then there's I'm on Twitter, Savy Jane Studios, and Facebook, Savy Jane Studios as well.
Nice and consistent. I like it.
Yeah.
So when did you open up the studio?
So we opened up the studio a little over a year ago, and that's been a pretty cool project in itself. We moved into the Old Rainier Brewery, and there's a cool artist community that lives there and works there. And we have like a 2,000 square foot loft that was unfinished, and so we moved in there and we put in a kitchen and did all the painting and sealed the floors, and it's over 100-year-old building, and so it just has concrete floors, but really cool character. And we put a stage in there because we put on events quarterly where we invite local musicians to come play, and I'll have new art on display, and then I invite another artist to live paint. And so we just do kind of this really cool, sexy cocktail party, and people get to experience all this creative, different energy, and it's really fun.
That sounds like a good time. I got to get to one of those
too.
So when is your next art showing?
Well, I have actually I have another really cool project I've been invited to be part of called Raw Natural Born Artists, and it's a company that's all around the world, and they throw out these events. This one is Thursday, April 17th at the Showbox Market in Seattle.
Cool. Okay.
And they've invited 40 different artists from Seattle, but it's musicians, dancers, makeup artists, fine artists, and it's another collection of all sorts of different kinds of art. So I'll have a stand there with some of my new art, and I'll be selling that and being part of that. So
That's got to be fun to be around all those creative minds.
it's really cool, and I love those events because of the energy there, and everyone's just feeding off each other, and they're encouraging each other to be creative and just be weird artists like we all are.
I love it. Well, we've got time for about one more question. So, where do you see your company going in the future?
I want to continue to put on these art events, music involved, because it's such a big part of my every minute of every day almost, and I want to continue to bring in new clients and art lovers and musics alike by putting me on these events. So I just want to continue to paint musicians, and I want to encourage musicians and help them and just be a part of this really cool Seattle art community.
I love it. I love it. Well, I really appreciate you taking time on a Saturday to come out and tell us about your work. And everyone can find you at SavyJaneStudios.com.
Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Okay, cool. Thanks for joining us today. We're gonna take it to the producer for a quick break. You're listening to Clay 1180 AM and Community Real Estate Talk Show. We'll be right back.